calling for reparations of black people, this guy responds, "This should have been done then. I didn't own slaves, and no one living was a slave." Let's address this. First of all, let's dismiss the asinine point that because there wasn't accountability then, there can't be accountability now. As long as the government is still around, accountability of that government is absolutely possible. The broader point is that this is not about reparations for people who are no longer alive. This is about your hatred for black people. Because if we really did want to focus on people who are still living, we can pay reparations to black people simply for the injustices committed against them during the civil rights era. And I'll give you one really good example. Houses. After World War II, there was a housing boom, and every American family wanted the American dream of a house. The Federal Housing Authority decided to give out loans to people, but only white people. They explicitly wrote into their contracts that these loans cannot go to black people for any reason whatsoever. As a result, white families were able to purchase homes, and black families were not. Home ownership is the #1 way to build generational wealth in America. Those homes that were then sold for about $10,000 are now worth about $500,000 or more. That's wealth and equity that allowed white families to start small businesses, pay for their kids' college tuition without student loans, or invest in new property and make even more money. All things denied to black families altogether, and the results have been devastating. According to numerous studies, black median wealth has dropped by more than half in the last 40 years. Meanwhile, white wealth has increased 33%. But it gets even worse than this. The median black family today owns only $3,600, just 2% of the wealth of the median white family. And yeah, it gets even worse than this. At this rate, the median white wealth will be $174,000 by 2050, and the median black wealth will be only $600. Black wealth is projected to be 0 by 2082. This is what we mean by the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. But the scary part is this is not accidental, this is deliberate and systemic. This is why we also say that student debt is a racial justice issue. A study found that 2 decades after taking out their student loans, the median black borrower still owed 95% of their debt, whereas the median white borrower paid off 94% of their debt. Multiply this across generations and across tens of millions of students, and you see the black and white divide is becoming more and more stark every single day. And this is not some long ago conspiracy. This is contemporary reality. So if the argument really is that we can't pay reparations to slaves because nobody alive today is a slave, well, there are millions of black people alive today who are suffering from these white supremacist policies, denied equal justice because of the US government's contemporary actions. And if you really want to put a number on it, at a bare minimum, $500,000 reparations to every black person in America would be a good start. And that still does not absolve the US government from paying reparations for 400 years of slavery, genocide, and Jim Crow. Class dismissed.